Today's message is me talking not to you, but that dog in you, or as the younger kids say, that dog in you. And I don't mean it as in like you got that dog in you, but like there's literally a dog inside of you that I'm trying to talk to right now. And that dog is the part of you that feels more than it thinks. And what I mean by that is this is kind of like a warning for intellectualism and using the smart part of your brain, like logic and stuff. This isn't anti-intellectualism. This isn't anti um, academic. This isn't against people being smart. But it is a warning for people who kind of use it as a crutch, like their intellect is a crutch. Because at the end of the day, we are like feeling people. I guess I'll kind of give you a specific example. Like one of my friends is very, very smart, super, super smart person. And they had this thing where they're really, really good at intellectualizing their emotions. And that can be a good thing. And what that does is it kind of gives you distance from the emotion so you don't feel it as much. And you can kind of um, figure out what's actually going on. So that way you're not completely drowning in that emotion. I can't believe I hit that. But yeah, you can use it to you can use like mental models or things that you learn from psychology to help you figure out, okay, what am I actually feeling? Do I need to feel this? What are the origins of this emotion? Like, where does this come from? Like, those kinds of questions are really, really good to have. And like trying to figure out where that comes from using your intellect and psychology and like different techniques is super, super useful. But like one of the pitfalls for that is it creates, if you do that all the time as a crutch, it can create so much distance from your experience as a human being, from your emotions, that you forget what it feels like to feel that emotion, right? And so let's say like you're like, let's talk about my friend who like lately has not felt very motivated and about stuff, and how to get him to be more motivated. And we've gone about it from every single angle, like why he isn't motivated, like the origins of where that could come from, childhood, that sort of a thing, like childhood trauma, you know, um, maladaptive responses, like bad coping mechanisms or stuff like that. And generally, he's become like a happier person, right? Because of these techniques. But the one thing that we kind of figured out was like he forgot the experience of being human. Like we ignored, or at least he ignored, um, not maybe not ignored, but kind of like forgot what it feels like to feel the things that he's been talking about. Right? This guy just trolled the shit out of me. And like knowing what those things feel like can definitely change your perspective entirely. I'll give you an example. Like if something feels good, you're going to want to do it again. Like if you go to the gym, you can like intellectualize going to the gym as much as you want. You can read about it as much as you want. But if you go to the gym and you exercise, like it might not feel good before you go to the gym. It might feel torturous to be at the gym, right? But after you go to the gym, you're like, damn, I went to the gym. Like that sucked. But like the fact that I went, that feels good. Like there's nothing intellectual about that. There's like nothing academic about that. It's just a feeling, right? And that feeling itself is like irreplaceable. And that's really what I mean when I'm saying I'm talking to that dog inside of you. Because if you really want to start changing your behavior or start changing your perspective, at least on certain things in your life, you may have to step away a little bit from intellectualism and kind of intellectualizing everything, right? I know there's probably a better word for it, but like using too much, like relying too much on logic rather than feeling. And the reason I'm talking to that dog in you to kind of bring it back full circle is because if you're trying to change behavior, I think like one of the best ways of doing that is thinking, okay, how do I change this behavior if I was a dog? Like literally that's it. Like how would you, if you were a dog, change this behavior? I want that craver so bad. I suck. Oh my god. I got cravered. I'm not even cravered, just normal shot. That was such a good shot. Anyways, but yeah, like you have this, like if you're trying to change behavior, trying to do it through intellectual means might not always be the best, you know? Like using psychology, psychotherapy, all of those things are like definitely useful tools. But if it becomes a crutch to the point that you forget how it feels to feel your emotion, like the actual physical feeling of that emotion, it can prevent you from changing the way that you need to change. So if you're a dog, right? If you're training a dog, like how do you do it? You just make them feel good. Like like there's no thinking. Dogs don't know how to reason the way humans do. They don't know anything about psychology or psychotherapy or anything like that, right? I should have disengaged immediately as soon as I heard that shot. Anyways, and my pathing was bad. Anyways, but like dogs, they're like almost always going to go based off of feeling. So how do you change your behavior? You punish them if they do something bad, or most of the time you just give them a treat. That's it. Or you give them praise, right? You're like, "Hey, good job." And that praise or that treat or whatever, that feels good. That's it. It's just like it is not a super complicated thing. It's super simple, but people forget to feel and use their feelings to their advantage. Like you could talk about like this one weird trick that psychologists use or whatever, but what about what the one weird trick that dogs use? It's just feeling good, right? So if you is that a person? Okay. Anyways, if you are going to try to change your behavior, try to change your behavior. If you're trying to change your behavior and you're using like psychological techniques and they don't really work, you may want to. I want to try this actually. Oh, I suck. That was bad. But yeah, if like using all these like psychological, not tricks, but like techniques and like really proven things doesn't work for you, you may want to just go back to the experience of being a human or a more primal version of you, which is like that monkey brain, or as I said in the beginning of the video, a dog, right? Like treat yourself like a dog. Like it's like, hey, good job. Like that felt good to go to the gym. That felt good to study when I haven't studied in a long time, you know? Like putting myself through the act of doing that. It felt good to praise myself. Or like, hey, like it feels good to take care of yourself, to like brush your teeth, comb your hair, take a shower, or just make yourself a meal. Or just even feels good to be like, I like myself. Just to say, like, I'm happy right now, actually. And those are feelings. Like, they're thoughts too, but mostly they're feelings. And you can stack that up like over time. And even just like a single experience can radically change your perspective and change like the momentum of your day and your life. And you know what's crazy is it doesn't even have to be a huge experience. It could literally be just like a small experience. And I'm sure as I'm saying this, you like the person listening, both the person and the dog in you, like you have like you're probably having a flashback where you've had like a small moment in your life where it radically changed the outcome of your life, you know? Maybe not everything in your life, but it doesn't take much to give yourself a good day, to give yourself a good perspective. Oh shit. I think for me is like I go to the cafe every day and I do these like little I practice happiness, right? And it's not like, sure, you can make this like super Buddhist, like meditative practice where I go to the cafe and I think about being happy. No, I just like I'm there and I am happy. I don't think about the fact that I am happy. I'm just like I'm a dog, you know? Like there's no like I don't use my brain for that. I'm just like, oh, I'm a happy person right now. Cool. And then you just practice being happy, right? Oh shit. I definitely want to hit this shot. Oh, I did it. I don't care. I don't even care if I win this fight. I didn't even lose because of that guy. What the hell? Anyways, man, playing a game and what just happened? Nice. Yeah, basically get out of your head a little bit, get into your body, you know, and like feel those feelings. And basically, well, like here's like the main takeaway. A lot of times at first, like a maladaptive behavior is something that works at first and maybe in like one situation or a couple situations, and then it doesn't help you in the future. And sometimes it can harm you, right? So, like intellectualizing things and using like psychological techniques at first can be helpful, it can be beneficial to your life. But after a certain point, it can be a form of escapism. It can be a way for you to not feel those emotions. And so sometimes the only way out is through. And sometimes you just got to feel the feelings, right? And as one of the things that I used to say to my friend, like one of my best friends in the US all the time was see the seas, smell the smells, feel the feels, right? And it was like a stupid, childish thing to say, but we always laughed about it. And sometimes you just got to feel the feeling, man. And let's say it's sadness and you're depressed. And if you acknowledge that you're sad and you accept that you're sad and you feel that sadness, you really feel it instead of trying to run away, something miraculous is going to happen. You're going to feel it and you're going to feel that emotion instead of thinking about that emotion. So you don't have 2 points of pain anymore. You have like you're only dealing with the sadness rather than both the sadness and your anxiety about the sadness, right? So you've knocked down two enemies into one. And then also, what a lot of the times that happens is you realize that sadness isn't so bad, right? It's not as big of a monster as you thought it was going to be. It's actually much more manageable. And you'll also realize that you're much stronger than you think you are. And let's say it's not sadness, let's say it's happiness, right? You might realize that, like, damn, I'm much happier than I've ever thought. And I want this to keep going. And I can use this momentum to expand into other aspects of my life to become more motivated. And it feels good to feel good. Think about that. Hope that helps.